Lately, I feel like YouTube filmmaking has changed. There seems to be a bit of a shift that is drawing us towards something more grounded, something more real. As if the platform itself is taking a breath, slowing down to let stories that feel a little bit more genuine take over. Now, there is a pull towards content that resonates more on a personal level and that is moving away from this like relentless push of like jump cuts and like super polished like perfection. Alright, so here we are stepping into a whole new vibe on YouTube. It's like suddenly the game has changed almost from watching stuff to actually feeling like you are like part of it. So today I want to talk about why YouTube has to go through this transformation and how a new style is taking over. In fact, I don't think it's like a singular style, but more like a combination of different ones, and I'll explain what I mean in particular. Alright, let's get into something like pretty interesting. In the recent years, YouTube has been dominated by that overly fast-paced editing style that has been like everywhere. Obviously, this has been quite heavily influenced by platforms like TikTok, and it's been the go-to for grabbing and keeping attention on social media almost. But here's the thing, it's starting to wear out. People are looking for something more, something a little bit deeper. And this whole ADHD editing vibe, I think it had its moment, but viewers want connection that lasts a bit longer than a 15-second clip. So what is happening is kind of a wake-up call, and we are seeing a necessary change on YouTube, moving away from just trying to hook viewers with like quick, endless cuts, and instead offering them content that makes them want to stay and makes them actually think. Now, let's talk about something that is really at the heart of this whole transformation on YouTube. The rise of story-driven content. If you go back a couple of years and you look at like travel videos, for example, then it was all about like kind of mind-blowing visuals. Drone shots over epic landscapes, slow motion backflip, and those kind of things. And yeah, those visuals, they were cool at the time, like don't get me wrong, but if there's no story, it kind of feels a little bit empty. And I think that particular era is taking a backseat now. Try to understand that the most powerful tool we have is not the latest camera or drone, it's the stories we tell. So if you ever watched a video and you felt like moved or inspired or just like somehow connected, you've experienced story-driven content, and I'm really happy that we see more of that nowadays. Now moving on, let's talk about something that is becoming more and more obvious. People are pretty much over this whole like luxury trend. You know, these kind of Instagram posts with like infinity pools and having a floating breakfast by your pool and all of this like flashy, cheesy stuff. For a while it was everywhere, but I think people are really starting to crave like realness over that kind of flex. And the same goes for exotic locations. It seems like we've hit a point of saturation here.
We are at this super beautiful location right here, and I wanted to take the opportunity to speak about beautiful locations. You see, people have been posting these kind of like crazy tropical places on social media for a couple of years now, and I think viewers also have grown kind of like numb to it. I think everybody knows how Bali looks like, and if they haven't been there in person, then they've definitely seen it on the phone. So I think people have also grown a little bit tired of it, and I recommend to think outside of the box and look at locations that are a little bit different or focus on storytelling instead.
And that is why I want to show more everyday stuff here on the channel. To me, it's clear now more than ever that what really resonates are genuine, down-to-earth moments.
What is up? I'm here overly excited, trying to capture your attention, and all of this feels a little bit weird and awkward and artificial, and something like people would do in 2017.
And we're talking about the kind of content where you can see yourself in the creator's shoes and their experience kind of echoes your own. Now, before we jump back in, I've got to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Motionary. They've got an enormous library which is packed with everything you need, video templates, effects, and the kind of audio tracks that will elevate your video projects. What I really like the most though is how Motionary makes high quality assets accessible without necessarily blowing your budget. Their subscription model is super affordable. The way it works, you get unlimited access. Yeah, you heard that right. Unlimited downloads of any asset you need, all for one all-you-can-eat price. And here's the breakdown. A monthly subscription is just $29. If you opt in for the annual plan, it drops down to $20 per month. And that is because Motionary is all about supporting creators. And they're offering an extra $50 through my affiliate link below. And that will cut your cost to just less than $17 per month. And I guess that is much cheaper than the price of all of this gear that I hardly use that is like collecting dust on my shelf. So if you're looking to step up your editing game without spending a fortune, you definitely gotta check out Motionary. Click the link in the description, grab that discount and start creating with some of the best tools out there. And with that said, let's get back to the video. So once again, I think a shift towards relatability on YouTube is a very good thing that was very long overdue. Now, after chatting about how we're all kind of just overwatching somebody's like highlight reel, let's talk about mixing it up a little bit. Like social media has been extremely focused on individuals, and some people, they really seem to be like full of themselves. So I think we gotta step away from this like one-man show kind of deal and getting other people in front of the camera once in a while also. And I think that makes everything a bit more relatable. Real life isn't a solo mission either. It always involves other people. So I feel like throwing them into the mix will definitely improve our stories. Like next I want to talk about providing value. Remember when vlogs were the big thing? Like people would just turn on their camera and chat about like super random things like their day, their meal, life update, basically anything.
Quick life update. I'm in New York City. Nothing interesting is happening. I'm just kind of wasting your time, but can you please buy something in the video description below?
It was pretty cool for a while, especially if you were like an A-list celebrity. But let's get real, for most of us, like watching somebody else's like life update or random daily moments has kind of lost its shine. Like nowadays it's all about providing something valuable for your viewer, and I think that term is referred to as like edutainment. It's basically a sweet spot where you can learn something in a fun way, I guess. So videos pack a bit of knowledge, but they also feel like you're just hanging out and having a good time. Because deep down, we all love to learn and have some kind of like light bulb moment, right? With the rise of artificial intelligence, there's been this explosion of like faceless channels on YouTube. You know, the type where everything from like the script to the visual and even the voiceover is like generated by a computer. Now, don't get me wrong, I think AI is a game changer to help you brainstorm and shortcut certain workflows. Like it's useful. However, if you want to create content that resonates and truly connects, we can't just let AI like run the entire show. People are smarter than that and they gotta smell it from like a mile away. Like I'm all in for using AI as a tool to enhance what we're already doing, but at the end of the day, there's something about content which is created by real people with emotions and genuine moments that AI just can't like replicate. Like the human touch will get us hooked on YouTube in the first place, so we gotta make sure that it stays that way. Next, I want to talk about non-filtered and non-polished content. Like camera tech has become so advanced, a lot of YouTubers even to start shoot on like cinema cameras now. Like everything looks so crisp, so amazing, but somewhere along the line, I think people started craving like something different, something a little bit more genuine, and maybe even a little rough around the edges. So I think we gotta move away from this like show reel feel of content, and we gotta step into something that feels a lot like sitting down with a friend and someone who's not afraid to say, hey, let me show you what like really went down. In my opinion, it's not about ditching quality, but it's about like redefining it. And for me, quality doesn't just mean like high resolution and perfect composition anymore. It's authenticity and relatability. So maybe sometimes we gotta flip the camera around to show not just the sunset, but also the crowd of people with their phones out trying to capture it. Plus, not every shot is taken on the first attempt, and yes, sometimes the behind the scenes can be more interesting than the actual main shot, in my opinion. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about something we've all been guilty of at some point. Going crazy over the latest like camera gear, thinking it's like the magic bullet or something. There was a period on YouTube where big creators, I think they were a little bit too interested in making gear recommendations, and I think that needed to change. I seriously think it's time to shift the spotlight from having the newest shiny toy to working with whatever you got on hand. So if you think about it, the best content out there is all made with camera tech that is now considered outdated. And retrospectively, I think literally nobody is complaining about the pixels or frames per second or any other technical spec. So I think people need to step away from this like a little bit. Please let me know if there is another change that YouTube urgently needs that I might have missed. And if you like this particular video, you might also want to check out this playlist right here. And with that said, I'll see you guys in one of the next ones.